Hey guys, Xlice here. It's time for Hiyuki S0 to S6, full guide out on main channel as usual. All fights are recorded in TOA on media server, with the same stats as in the guide that you can see here. We are going to focus on one rotation damage, but I still do full clear since they're fast anyway. So to keep things simple, we're going to use just one team, her premium GLACIO Chafe lib buffing setup with Chisa and Lene as supports. Chisa and Lene are both S0 R1 on their respective signature sets. I will be redoing the S0 damage showcase from the main channel guide because that was recorded on a scuff setup while I was traveling in Japan. So quick TLDR before we get into things, she is very strong and very satisfying. Not that many changes with her playstyle, she just blasts more and more damage with more sequence nodes. Alright, so first up, S0. The only big number that I'm really going to focus on in these showcases is going to be her ult. But as you guys know, with the way that she's designed and how GLACIO Chafe works, there's a lot of extra damage that happens before that. So we're doing typical setup for all these. It's going to be Chisa setup into Lene setup each time. And we are on kind of a time limit because we need to make sure that we do all our damage within Lene's buffing window. Alright, so this is where she enters. I'm just going to show you guys really quickly how the default setup looks like. So we immediately enter. I'm going to immediately basic attack. We have our first heavy attack almost right away. Okay, so I'm going to ultimate. I'm going to immediately do the tune break here, just to prevent this guy from moving around that too much. Okay, and then I'm going to do a basic 5 chain. That little explosion there is usually when basic 5 ends, and I do want my forte to be about halfway so that double E will get us full forte. There's one E, second E, boom. A hold E, and then do our triple normal slashes. Heavy, and ultimate. I'm going to hold it here. As you guys notice, with the hold, the timer stops completely, so there's no worry about losing DPS.
Roam above the inferno. Gazing at the
Alright, so pretty good, right? 115 to 460k, about 66 to 70% HP consumed. Just gonna fast forward here. We don't really need to look at this too much, but I'm gonna fast forward to when to clear.
A life as fleeting as the first snow.
So pretty normal here. About the same as the guide clear. So we're good. So first up, S1. This one's focused on, these are all of her in ultimate normal attack damage. So not really much that you're going to see change here. We do also get immunity to interruption, which is quite nice. Don't have to worry about being staggered out of your rotation. And basic 1 and 2 now inflict also GLACIO Chafe. The damage from S1, you really aren't going to see much. This is kind of just going to be like a stepping stone for S2. Okay, so normal setup. Nothing really changes in these setups. You guys can basically see that I am going with a full Chisa rotation to a full Lene rotation. I'm going to speed things up later though, because this boss isn't going to have enough HP to survive later on. Alright, a little bit of a fast forward here. I'm going to let my editor do his thing. Alright, so in ultimate form, all of these basic attacks are going to be slightly stronger. And you're also going to know, if you could look at the GLACIO Chafe stacks, right? You need a little bit extra. Every single attack here is going to affect 10, 11, 12, and then we have the E slashes, and then the EI storm, and then boom. So there's a little bit of variance here, because I'm not perfect 100% crit rate, but this is still good. So ultimate damage is exact same. The total boss HP is basically not going to change. Okay, so pretty good. S2 is where we really care about things. So first thing is the EI damage, those triple slashes in Forte. Each one of those is going to be doing a little bit over double damage, which is quite juicy. More important stuff. The inherent skill, this one that provides her the extra stacks that increase her burst damage. She's going to get max points. So when you initiate a rotation, or if you're doing overworld and stuff, you're going to be able to get this. So this basically frontloads her damage. Long term, you're not going to be able to get this on every single ultimate, but at least the first one that I can show you guys is going to be the maxed out damage. Also, there's a couple things in the same sense where she's getting these max stacks. She also gets a little bit of quality of life inside of her base kit. In ultimate, now I don't actually show this, but I'll demonstrate it later on. Her enhanced skill is going to provide a little bit extra forte, which actually means that you can remove the basic attacks in the beginning and basically just do a double E and then immediately go into the heavy attack. The problem is though with that, I don't think it's actually more damage because you're losing the GLACIO Chafe procs. So I would say only shorten the rotation if either you need like a super fast burst window or if you have more sequence nodes that like really buff the tail end of her damage. Okay, so here's a demonstration of S2. You guys are gonna see a pretty big damage increase here. Shisa's really getting some nice value if you think about it, right? All of these recent comps are all using her, and just because the way that she improves that negative status is just quite nice. And Linnea is obviously one of the de facto supports because everyone apparently is doing resonance liberation damage. Okay, so let's watch this really quick. All right, so in Ultimate, I'm going to show you a couple things, okay? If you are S2 right here, you can technically use both of her resonance skill slashes to instantly go into EI stance. But for me, I'm going to do the normal basic 5-string because I still value the GLACIO Chafe Infliction. If you want a faster rotation though, just use the 2 E-charges that you see here. I'm still gonna do the normal stuff. So Tomb Break here, then I'm gonna do Basic Chain. Okay, so you guys can see here, watch what happens with 1 E. So 1 whole E gave about like 1/2 of the whole bar, right? So I could have ignored the Basic Chain there. We're still gonna do both, and then we're gonna do EI slash. So you guys are gonna see the EI damage. Look at the stuff. Okay, so then heavy damage. All right, so before ultimate, and we know the ultimate's gonna do big damage here, we're already almost at S0 damage. All right, 165 into 660k. And we do almost 90%, so I'm gonna show you also one subtle difference. Remember before how we were holding the ultimate? Look how fast this is. Just a tap. You'll be able to tell, by the way, how many stacks of the buff that you have here. I'm going to rewind a little bit, okay? So you guys see this 3 here? This 3 right here tells you how many snow, the ultimate stacks, essentially, that you have. In S0, S1, if you go back in the video, she's going to be at 2. So with the new thing, she's going to be able to front load a lot of damage here. When she has 3 of this number, just tap. You don't need to hold. Tapping will consume all 3 of these to do maximum damage. Also, that little 2 here that you see to the left of it, I believe this is the Snow Rust, but we'll have to see. But yeah, overall damage is very good. S3. So this is also going to add even more nice damage. We also get a bonus on her Snow Rust, which is her innate buff. Currently, she only gets 2 stacks of this with Chisa, but with this S3, she'll get 3. So this gives her an extra 30% GLACIO bite amplification, which is quite nice. Also, both of her heavy attacks are getting a more of a final damage increase. And then not only that, but all GLACIO bite that she inflicts will have its raw damage increased by about 5x. So we are doing a lot of extra damage here. Okay, so let's really see how much the damage is putting out here. Okay, here we go, almost ready. You can actually do a shortened Linnea rotation, but I'm so used to doing the normal attack after ultimate for that extra energy. Okay, so Hiyuki's time to shine here.
Let there be snow.
Okay. Alright, so you see what's happening right now? I'm just gonna play it at full speed, so I want you guys to notice there is a lot of fucking numbers going on the screen, okay? We'll just watch the HP of the boss. A lot of numbers. Alright, yeah, look at that. Oh my god, bro. Her EI slashes are so bloody strong. You guys can also see every single time that she's doing these crit damages, all of this extra stuff is GLACIO bite damage. So she is effectively like 93% crit or something. But you guys are going to notice that all of the non-crit is actually the GLACIO bite. So you can actually tell. So just watch this really quick again. Enhanced form right here. Every single time she's doing that, she's doing an extra like 50 to 60 to 70k, which is quite nice. And then we're going to do heavy.
You prepared for this, have you not?
Boom. 313k. And then ultimate, of course.
For all wishes spoken, this vessel I offer.
Yeah, so we are getting a pretty big chunk of damage there. I would say that S1 is definitely the weakest. S2, S3 are where things are at. Makes sense, though. They're trying to make S2 to be, like, decently strong, and then S3 to be, like, worth investing in because you have to actually pull for it. It makes sense that S1 is going to be the weaker of all the stuff. Okay, let's move on. S4 is the typical 20% increased damage. She also gets max HP recovery, which is like self-sustained, which is quite nice. S5, we're just gonna go do a quick demonstration here. This is just her enhanced skill, or anything related to a resonance skill. It's gonna be enhanced damage here. Mostly though, you guys don't really care about S5 because it's basically going from S3 to S6. Okay, super quick right now. I'm gonna fast forward just so you guys can see where the damage is at. Also, you guys are gonna notice as I do this, the rotation is like really, really fast. I'm also doing the slow version. Remember that you don't need to do this basic vibe string that I do in the beginning. Starting from S2, you can just do double tap E and basically have your full forte. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Yeah, okay. Good damage. Our ultimate's gonna do a little bit more here. 175 to 700k. Yeah, fully dead. Very nice. S6. This is where things get a little bit funky, all right? 500% increased crit damage. Now, if we take a look at our stat page, 297 crit damage with 68 crit rate, all right? Am I buffed right now? Might be buffed by my team. So it's not 297 on the stat page. I'm being buffed by 40% here because of her Snow Rust. So we are 257 before putting her in a party. Just make note of that. 500% crit damage is going to go from 297 to 797. So we can look at this probably around a 2.5 times damage increase to her burst, which is pretty fat. It's not going to be actually that much. I think it's going to be between like, it's plus, it's almost like 2.5 to triple damage because we're going from 297 crit damage to 797. So we're finally going from 300% to 800%. So like her damage is going to almost triple. If you think about it that way. So from a 700k ult, we're going to do more than double damage, but below triple damage, which is about the right threshold. Not only that, while she has 2 stacks of Snow Rust, which is literally always in effect because of her S3, I believe. Yes, S3. This is going to change. Glacio Chafe from her is going to be Glacio Chafe from everyone. This is going to be very impactful when she gets her specific sub DPS. We don't have access to it right now, so this S6 was not going to be in effect, but she will get even stronger with that sub DPS. Also, the extra Snow Rust is giving her 40% more crit damage, which is basically nothing at this point. She's going to be 840%. But also, this is going to be huge. 25% final damage, Glacio Bite damage. This affects everything that she does. So yeah, this is where things get a little bit tricky. I'm going to show you guys. So this file that I have here is fairly long, and that's because this boss does not live. So first, I want to show you guys her raw damage increase before we even get to the ult. Get ready, boys. Remember that she does have an initial ult damage, so we're going to watch that too. Hey, watch this.
You can trust me.
So first, heavy. Ultimate, first ultimate damage, okay? 260k, look at the Glacio Bite damage. Like 20k, 20k, 14k, 14k. Why? Okay. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Look at the damage though. Look at the damage though, bro. Okay. Heavy attack. Didn't even crit. Didn't even crit. Alright, so you guys can see we are doing a fuck ton more damage. Basically, you can view the rest of her kit does 20% more. So like previously on pre-ult, we're doing like 80% of the boss. We're doing maybe like 95 to 100%. Kind of crazy. Okay, so now we need to make some sort of modification here. All right. You guys are going to see, I'm going to go to my final showcase here. Just so you guys are fully aware. Okay, this is my final showcase. So we're going to do a couple things we're changing here. We're going to shorten Chisa's rotation.
Flicker into form.
So normally for maximum Chisa damage, you're going to enhance skill and then hold your left click right here. But since we're shortening here, I'm just going to tap. What does tapping do? Look at that. So a lot weaker, right? 62k instead of like 88 to 100k. Now I'm going to switch to Linné. I'm going to immediately ult and go instantly to an E. I'm just trying to shorten everything because we really need this boss to have as much HP as possible.
Check this out.
Okay, so couple things. Okay, we're switching here. Forte. Okay, ultimate.
A life as fleeting as the first snow.
Okay, watch this. All right, just watch this. We're gonna do a fast rotation. We're going to do both enhanced skills. I'm gonna skip her heavy attack because it's gonna kill. Tune break first. Okay, E. There we go. Triple slash. Okay, just ult.
Above the inferno, gazing.
Wow. I didn't even show you. Boom. Okay, she's fucking broken. I don't know what to say, man. I just want you guys to know that in this particular rotation, let me do it in full speed, okay? Let me do it in full speed. I shortened this rotation so much because I was worried of overkilling it.
A life as fleeting as the first snow.
I unfortunately get interrupted here, it's fine.
Roam above the inferno, gazing at the snow.
That is fucking strong, okay? Let me just say that's fucking strong, bro. That's a 2.3 million ultimate without her enhanced heavy. Okay? That's fucking strong. That is really fucking strong. Like, damn. Obviously, this is max ultimate, so she's not going to be able to do this every single time. But I want you guys to be fully aware her entire kit deals so much more damage than before. So, like, she's doing her triple EI slash. I don't even, like, if we can even calculate how much her fucking EI slash is doing. Let's actually see if we can calculate it. Can you see it? Like, how much are we doing here? 186 plus 31k plus all the glacial bite. It's really fucking hard to see, man. Okay, but just I think each eye slash is like doing 250 to 300k. So 300k times 3 is 900k. We didn't even do enhanced heavy here. Enhanced heavy is gonna add another 330k, and then her ultimate's gonna be doing 2.3 mil. So I think her rotation at S6 with the current buffs is like 4 mil with enhanced with the maxed out ultimate. And if her ultimate isn't maxed out, I think you're still doing about 1.2 mil. You're doing about half damage, or maybe a third of the damage. But overall, she's going from 3 stack to about 1 stack. So I think it's like, I think it's still between 1.2 to 2.3 mil.
Above the inferno, gazing at the snow.
Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, he's not even strong. I think that if I'm going to be completely honest, I think that her front-loaded damage is higher than Amy's. I think that her consistent teams damage is going to be slightly higher. But I do think that with Denia, it's probably going to improve the damage a little bit. But when Hiyuki gets her sub DPS, her GLACIO Chafe sub DPS, I think it's going to, like, it's going to be disgusting, right? Because this fixed damage multiplier is going to be even more damage. It's a lot. It's a lot. The GLACIO Chafe is doing a fuck ton. I would say, I don't know how much exactly if we take a look at the stacks. I would say maybe 20 to 25 GLACIO Chafe stacks in total from her entire rotation. Each GLACIO Chafe stack is doing what, like 21k proc? It's like an extra 400,000 damage. I might be miscalculating that. I might be doing a lot more though. Let me see. Kind of hard to tell. Each one of her EI damage does 3, right? So 3 stacks of GLACIO Chafe on hit. If I can just take a look. Okay, right here is where we're really looking at. Can I even fucking tell what the hell's happening? Probably not. Okay. Brother, I have... Dude, it's hard. It's hard to fucking see, man. It's between like 400k to 800k maybe, I would say, in total. I think her whole rotation is quite good. Yeah. All right, so Hiyuki, S0 to S6. Undeniably strongest DPS currently in the game. I think that her ceiling of damage is highest. Also has really good quality of life. Very easy to play. I think that if you already invested in Amy though, the damage is going to be pretty equal. And you also have Denia coming up, or Denia. Denia, I don't even know how to pronounce her name, man. Yeah, overall damage from her. Sigrika is the strongest non-Toon Break, non-negative status damage that we have currently, which makes sense. Amy is the strongest raw damage with Toon. I think Fusion Burst is also going to be really good for AoE. Her damage, I mean, I think that she's like, I mean, yeah, because she's applying GLACIO. Like, I think, and there's no one that's like single target versus AoE anymore. So I think we have 3 super strong teams now. I think we're at that stage, right? Sigrika, strongest non-Toon. Amy, a strongest Toon. Luke Hurston, strongest Toon strain. Hiyuki, strongest negative status. And then I think everyone else is just older characters. Makes sense. Chisa, stonks have definitely risen up. Mornia is only for Toon, not really for Hiyuki. Still can use it, but it's just like not gonna be synergistic. Lene, best sub DPS right now, just because she's like universal, right? Lene is used for Luke Hurston Toon Strain, used for Amy Toon Rupture, used for Hiyuki Resonance Liberation, also Resonance Liberation, just like so much stuff. So we need more sub DPS at this point. We have enough sustains. Mornia, Chisa, plus Shorekeeper. We have more than enough DPS, so I think that's expected. Sub DPS, we're kind of using Lene for everything currently. Just doesn't feel that great. Hopefully we get something in the future. All right, anyways, overall, I love her. GLACIO is eating well. She's definitely going to get a sub DPS in the future based off of the way that her 5p set bonus is, so look forward to that. All right, anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and sub. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.